volunteer ambulance. That is something that I know has been discussed for quite a while. I just like the board to be prepared for discussions with that in the future. I'm sure we'll be having discussions of that at the county level. And at any time, please reach out to me if you have questions or thoughts in favor of or against that. And I will share those. And I anticipate in the next month or two, as action comes through, potentially having some action here at the town board in that regard to provide that benefit to those who volunteer for all of us. So that is the only priority business that I have. We don't have any presentations or public hearings. We'll now go to reports of town officials. Jim, do you have anything?
Nothing new to report.
Okay.
Can I make a note?
Yes.
About our highway superintendent? There is in our communication a very nice compliment for you, Jim, on your plowing this, or not plowing, on your paving this summer. Not that the plowing has been great this weekend too. And also I noticed some kind words from the volunteer fire department that you helped them reach out to a resident over the weekend. So thank you.
Thanks, Eli.
All right, thank you. Jean, you're next.
You have my report. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Okay. I don't have any at this time. Anybody have any questions for the town clerk? See, Shauna, is she in? She's in the meeting. Shauna?
I don't have anything additional.
All right, thank you, Shauna. All right, financial reports are in the agenda. If you have any questions, you can send those my way as well. Sorry for the budget and where we are this year at this time. Reports of committees and boards. I don't have anything to bring up for finance. Karen, do you have anything? Okay. Councilman Fennelly, planning public works.
We had a meeting a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And there are some resolutions on the agenda tonight that were discussed at the planning public works committee meeting and group endorsed, passage of all of those. Also, the CCA program is going to be starting this month. Communication with the public regarding the program, will go on for a couple of months at least, and beyond, letting the public know and be public session set up for people to come in and learn more about it. Hopefully whoever is presenting can speak better than I am. That's about it.
Okay, thank you. And in that regard, I would encourage anyone who is here to familiarize yourself with the CCA program and community choice, to be able to, explain as people ask questions. So you'll be aware as it rolls out. There are some good options and there are some good savings available to residents of the town who join. They have worked to improve the situation and to clean up their process and to weed out unreliable suppliers. So it's much more reliable than it has been in the past. Ordinance. John, do you have anything?
I do not.
It's time. Let's move on to ECB. Adeline.
Nothing in particular, but we did have a member who had some changes in her personal commitments who was resigning from the committee, so there was going to be an opening.
Parks and Recreation, Mr. McNeil.
Seems like everybody else didn't have anything. I feel bad making everybody listen here.
Oh, we'll be putting you on the hot seat later, depending on. You're not going to get out of that easy tonight.
Well, several things have come up, and I think the biggest thing, and I see that Lindsay is logged on now too, but as part of the agenda, Lindsay did share at our last Parks and Rec meeting also the overview from 2022. So Lindsay did a great job kind of pointing out what were some of the things that happened at the parks and some of the different events and things. So thanks to Lindsay, and I think that gives everybody a pretty good idea. Not everything that happened, but it was a good overview of kind of the direction that the Parks and Rec Committee is going and some of the activities that we're starting to see at the park. So thank you to Lindsay kind of for wrapping up 2022. And then also at our last meeting, we talked about things moving into 2023. And I had a lot of free time, so I made a list. But, again, a couple of things that are on the agenda for tonight that the Parks and Rec supported, one being the proposed kiosk or information board for Outhouse Park. And along with the continued work by MRB on the plan for improvements to the upland at Onondaga. So those are two big things that we're looking kind of, hitting our feet running coming into the new year. So some other things that we see as being big things for 2023, and Lindsay shared kind of budget things and where we're headed in our last meeting. But we have phase 2 work coming up on the pavilion at Motion Junction. So that's going to be a big thing. Really, it's I guess weather dependent, even in, through the winter a little bit, but definitely into the spring. The new partnership with the YMCA for the summer rec program. I think that's going to be kind of a fantastic opportunity with, very interesting to see how that all works out. I don't think, just from seeing what's happening at the Y and talking to different community members, I think this really is a starting point, maybe with some of our partnerships with the Y. I think we've got a great resource there, being so close to the town and Outhouse Park. So something that I think really is going to grow. Also, we talked a little bit last year about the future needs of Blue Heron Park. Doug met with the Parks and Rec Committee and shared kind of the vision for the uptown planning. So we've kind of thought about Blue Heron Park, and everything that was done as far as plans for Blue Heron Park was before the uptown study was complete. So I just think the whole nature of uptown is going to change. So, we're kind of taking that into account. It was great that Doug kind of gave us that whole vision of what uptown is going to look like and how that could impact, what are the things that are going to be needed at Blue Heron Park. Also continued trail improvements and paving. Lindsay shared with us just all the comments she's received already about the paving at Outhouse Park. Still waiting a little bit, I think, on the grant to maybe do some more paving, and there's the possibility to have some of that paid for. But an area like Outhouse Park where it gets wet and those trails I think are tough to maintain. Being paved like that, it's going to be a huge asset for the people that use that park. The other thing that we talked about last year and moving into next year is also a walking trail at Pierce Park. So I think that's something that the residents from Cheshire, had requested an area to walk down there. So that's something else that we're moving forward with. And again, we spent some time also planning to have some continued summer concerts. And again, a movie night at Outhouse Park. So kind of some of the things that we're looking at as we move into. I'm retired.
Really?
He's just learning about that.
Yeah, I should gavel you out of order.
So, sorry about that. So that was right at the end. I could have sat down quick. So really, that's what we're looking at as we move into 2023. I can't say thank you enough to Lindsay now that she's on there. Really, she kind of helps hold us together, and having her here on a day-to-day basis and reporting back to us is fantastic. So that's it from Parks and Rec.
All right, thank you, Mark. Cemeteries, Karen, do you have anything?
We're on hold till March because it's cold outside. But we did order special markers with the help of the history team and their guidance for the Academy Cemetery.
Perfect. All right, thank you. I don't see any updates from any of our project teams, so we will move right to our next privilege of the floor. Is there anyone who would like to be heard at this time? See no hands. That takes us to continued resolutions. We do have one continued resolution tonight, number 279. Directing town manager to draft a local law to amend the official zoning map.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. There will be some discussion on this, and I will start that discussion. We had some talk, if you remember last meeting, there was a little bit of extended discussion on this project and on this plan. There are changes coming through, and the plan is going to be modified and adjusted. So at this point, there are going to be some changes in that when we come back and see it again. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to vote on it right now on this change until we see the project as it comes back again and make a decision. So I am going to propose, I'm going to vote no. I think we still vote on it. But I think we vote no, knowing that this resolution will come back most likely in a different form with a different project being a different resolution. Anyone else have anything to add to that? Okay, so we're
I want to make sure everybody knows that we received email today from a resident opposing this as well.
Yeah. And I did, anything like that will be added into the record. And those communications will be available for that. So at this time, all in favor? Opposed?
Nay.
No,
No. Okay, resolutions is not carried. Okay. That's it. Two resolutions. Turn the page. 1 second. Dry fingers. There we go. Dry fingers and blue eyeballs. All right, resolution 82. Okay, these are ones that we never like to do, but they're ones that we have to do. Huh? We're stuck doing these. It's nobody's favorite. Resolution number 282, acknowledging town board member Karen Dene for her service to the town board.
so moved.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. I'd like to begin the discussion before we present the resolution to Karen, because I can, and Karen, you have that here as well, so welcome. As part of this, thank you for sharing Karen with us for this last year. Karen stepped up at a time where we needed somebody to fill a vacancy on the board. Karen was willing to step up and serve for the year and then give the decision to the voters this November. And that is something that we truly appreciated. She brings a lot of, and her accomplishments are listed in the resolution. But even more important than that, because there are a lot of things that happened, she stepped up and helped with the cemetery committee. She helped up and stepped up working with the finance committee. But even more importantly for me and for others I know, bringing years of experience, there years at the county level in multiple departments as a clerk of the board, understanding the function of government, understanding how things work and how things run and operate. She brought a good perspective that I truly appreciated in this past year. And thank you for your time and for your service to the town board. So now we're not done yet. Any other board members like to share any thoughts before?
I'll just say a big thanks to Karen as well. It was nice to not be the newest person on the town board this year by 1 month. And I don't know what we would have done without you, particularly after we unfortunately lost Gary as well. You were extremely important to keep our board functioning going forward. And thank you for taking time away from your quilting club, even when meetings were moved, to be here with us.
Yeah, I'd just like to throw in my 2 cents and say that I really enjoyed working with you, Karen. You're very kind, even presentation, your willingness to listen to ideas and weigh those and make the best decision possible for the town. Really appreciated sitting next to you for the past year here, so.
All right.
Thanks.
So if you can come on up here, and we're gonna come up here, you're gonna have to stand up.
This whole thing.
We're gonna come right here in front of the camera, right? You come up too, come on. Stand next to her, yeah. You don't get out of this that easy. So a couple of the highlights during Karen's tenure on the town board: the acquisition of land adjoining McJanet Park, support for Motion Junction, helping with the appointment of the town assessor, determining how to spend ARPA funds, community choice aggregate program. That's a lot of stuff in here. Look at this. The Gateway Science Initiative, the tree sponsorship program, approving the uptown traffic study, initiation of the townwide sidewalk envisioning plan, partnering with the YMCA for summer recreation programs, implementing the Canandaigua Lake Sustainable Winter Management Pilot Program. That's for the snowplows, less salt. That's how I remember it, because that's a long name. And adopting the 2023 town budget.
That was
So-
a hard year.
There was a lot in there. That was a lot. So
Thank you.
thank you from the town. Thank you from the town board and all of us.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
It was a good year.
All right. We'll miss you. We expect you to come back. No, one more meeting. We should have done these at the end. We should have put these off and next time, note to self, these resolutions are at the end. Cause
I'm gonna leave.
She's
Yeah.
gonna leave.
I need to take your car keys.
It was all about the.
All right, did we vote? Okay, we did not vote.
We did not
I just
vote.
started- I just started yapping.
Oh, we did, there's a motion on the table.
There is a motion on the table.
So,
So,
Hope it
all in,
passes.
all in favor?
Aye.
And I'm not even gonna do the other one. So Karen,
thank God we have a quorum without you.
then you'd be here forever.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Karen, so much for your time here. Okay, we have another person who is concluding many years of service to the town board. And that's John Robertella. So we have John here tonight. So let's start this off with a motion, then I'll start talking, then I'll forget, and then remind me that we have to vote again, okay? So that's all of your jobs out there.
So move,
Okay,
so move.
so we have a motion to move, it's been moved.
Second.
Okay, let's have some discussion and then we'll vote at the end. So I first met John, I was knocking doors, I showed up at his house, we started talking. We realized we had two connections, one to Gates Chila and one to history and many other things. And we talked and talked and talked, and I've enjoyed reading his articles, hearing his stories, seeing the things that he shares, reading his minutes, all the work that he does behind the scenes, keeping us organized and on task and keeping the movement and the wheels of the town going forward. So, really, it's kind of thankless because people don't see the input that people like John have, but they have a tremendous amount of influence in keeping the town running smoothly. And I personally like to thank John for all his time and all his years of dedication to the town and everybody. Anybody else like to share your thoughts?
I just recently got to know John in the last little bit, I began some door knocking
Yeah.
actually.
Common
But in the short time that I've been here, I'm going to, John's that guy who knows the answer to everything that you ask him. And I'm going to be very sad to not have you be available for that at this point, so thank you, it's been great to work with you.
I've always enjoyed reading minutes of the meetings, Jan. I don't know how you do it. I mean, I look at my own notes after a meeting and they're somewhat sketchy, You capture every word, I think that's said. That's an amazing talent that you have. Really appreciated everything.
Yeah.
I was hoping maybe you'd bring autographed copies of your new book tonight, so.
What's the craziest is that he produces those with almost no error. There's almost never any revisions to the meeting minutes. And generally, within 24 hours at the very longest, meeting minutes are sent out. It's been incredible, and having been with the planning board for this long, he will be truly missed.
Yes,
And it's the flair of making the meetings seem a lot more interesting than they really are, isn't it? You read those and you're like, man, I wish I'd gone. Very compelling work.
Well, and I would add, after taking minutes for 26 years, it's the stuff really about that's interesting. So they're very good.
All right, I received suggestion that we vote first. That way I cannot forget. So all in favor of thanking John
Aye.
for his service, aye. And I won't even ask for it as well. So John, come on up. All right, here you go. A list of some, so as you know, and as our attorney mentioned, the years that John has spent working with the planning board and working on their behalf, ECB, Drainage Committee, the PRC, all of these reviews, and he knows exactly who needs to get what, when, and what needs to happen with everything that comes through. So really keeping things going for us. Thank you so much, John. So there's that. Smile for Gene.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
all right.
Good job, Jerry.
You have to hang it on the wall.
$20 for
He'll be back.
Sure, spend all your money on the gavel
Yeah,
instead of the parade.
All right. Okay, resolution 284, another long standing community member in town service, acknowledging Sarah Linda Hooker for her years of service to the town.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. I would like to add, if Sarah Linda wasn't able to make it tonight, but if you just look through the extensive things that she has done, anybody who has worked with Sarah Linda knows the amount of time and preparation that she puts into her meetings, into reports of meetings, into reviews that needed to be done. She was extremely thorough, knowledgeable, informed, and definitely was able to express her ideas, her beliefs and opinions, and help others understand where she was coming from. I was able to work with her on a couple committees throughout my time here, and I'm grateful for that. And her historical understanding will be missed, and her historical perspective will be missed. So any other comment?
I'll just make a note that Sarah Lynn has been teaching me about history since I was 10 years old in the town of Canandaigua as one of our neighbors. She was always a very useful. I didn't even know of her connection to the town earlier on until I started working with the town myself. But she's always been an excellent resource for history in our area.
Right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, carries. All right, nobody's allowed to leave until next year, okay? All right, keeping all of you here, mark my word. All right, resolution 285, acceptance of the monthly financial reports.
I'll move that.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Carries. Resolution 286, acknowledgement and authorization of budget transfers by the town manager.
So moved.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carries. Resolution 287, establishing 2023 employee wage rates and payments.
So moved.
Second that.
Moved and seconded, any discussion?
Yeah, just a fine point, but I didn't see town board numbers listed. Are we working for free next year?
Where is
Where is it?
Very first one.
First thing.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
But the names are, I guess the
thought that
names
was
are
the
to be
title.
determined.
Just wanted to make sure, you know.
Yeah. Redacted to improve to protect your innocence. Okay, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
carries. Resolution 288, amending the town of Canandaigua vacation leave policy.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion?
I think I just wanted to mention the only change is that under section 11, that section letter F, correct? That's the.
It's actually, it's just the last sentence, so it's not even the whole thing, it's just adding that sentence under extenuating circumstances.
Yes. It just provides more flexibility for employees to use that leave time. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Resolution 289, setting the town of Canandaigua Town Board's 2023 organizational meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carries. So the meeting is set for January 9th. Resolution 290, setting a public hearing for a local law imposing a 6-month moratorium on the review, approval, permitting, and or construction of large-scale solar energy systems in the town of Canandaigua.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I think you pointed out, Doug, that this has to be referred to the county for review. When did they meet, you know? Offhand.
Sean might have the exact, date. we may have to kick it to the January 30th meeting, just to hit.
It's gonna be a quick. Yeah.
Their schedules. Sean,
Could you
do you know the date of the meeting?
Could you comment on where we stand with some potential application coming in?
We have concept applications in. To the best of my knowledge, we do not have any current full site plan applications that are in. But there is certainly a lot of conversation taking place, is what I would say. Relative to large solar farming operations.
And the ordinance committee has been working for a long time now on.
I did ask Chris about this though, about the clarification, right? So it's based on the building permit. So even though that if somebody was to make application even before we adopted the moratorium, they would not be able to pull the building permit.
That's correct. So in general, I'm quite certain in my tenure with the town, we've not done any moratoriums. I'm generally pretty opposed to them. In this case, I think it may be a good idea. If for no other reason than to serve as a warning of the board's contention. There is also on your agenda tonight's public hearing to consider revisions to the solar energy law. If an application comes in tomorrow, the development office will accept it. And review will commence, site plan review will commence with the planning board. A moratorium, once in effect, January 9th or January 30th, prohibits further review, but also construction, building permits, variances, approval process. So it serves as a, notification, if for nothing else, to applicants that we're about to change our code. We may take another month to consider it fully, but we want everybody to know we're not going to allow things under the old code until such time as we fully consider.
So the only hold up potentially to having it on the January 9th agenda is that county referral.
That's correct.
And that, Sean, just put that up there, that's January 11th. That the county referral is the 11th.
If the county rejected our proposal, we can overrule that with a supermajority from this
That's
board.
correct.
So since we have that control, and the ordinance committee has unanimously recommended that we do this.
That's
If
correct.
I may comment, at last month's, or actually last week's county planning board meeting, Town of Phelps put a moratorium in on solar, and everyone, the entire board was in favor.
I don't think there will be pushback at the county level.
I wouldn't think so. Moratoriums, interestingly, are type 2 actions under seeker requiring no further environmental review. Which had slipped my mind. I thought that was interesting as I was preparing this. There's a chance, if this and your public hearing on the solar law take place on January 30th, you may deny this moratorium. You may vote no, because you'll have a new solar energy code adopted. But putting this moratorium, getting the process started gives you the flexibility to delay, to further consider the revisions to the solar energy code.
Well, it's my thought is it's just a foot race.
Yeah.
It's their first.
Yes,
The town's intention is to get the solar law in place, so.
I agree. I think that makes sense, and I think this just gives you a little bit of
So Chris, is the moratorium administrative, meaning it would be exempt, or is it land use, meaning it does need 239?
it does need 239,
And
and I think off the top of my head, but it is not exempted. Okay.
so we did. So we should probably just assume if we get a public hearing on the resolution by January 30th. Unless you want to hold a public hearing, I can still continue it. We should get this over. Sure.
So let's set the public hearing for the 30th. So that would be an amendment.
So you need to amend it. I'll move the
So
amendment.
you'll move the amendment?
Sounded like Karen moved the amendment, Jared seconded it.
Yeah.
For January 30th.
Okay, so any other discussion on this? All right. So can I get a vote? So all in favor of resolution 290 as
No.
amended?
No, do the amendment first.
Vote on the amendment.
For me, one more time.
I'll do it for you. I know.
Of course.
All right, can I get a, all right, so we have an amendment on the table to move the public hearing to January 30th. All in favor? Aye.
Sure. Sounds like a plan.
That's not an option.
No,
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so
no, it's-
all in favor of resolution 290 is amended?
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Karen's keeping us alive.
Karen, thank you. All right.
One of you two guys, when you come on the board, have got to watch it in the future to make sure you
Yeah.
got things in the right order. So
Yeah.
Do we have a motion on that or? do we just-
We
Yeah.
We moved both.
Yeah, we did. Yep.
Thank you.
There had to have been a motion somewhere in
Yeah,
there.
I moved.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay. And before we go to 291, I do need to make a correction to the minutes earlier. I apologize. I worked with an Ed DeMay for years in the sheriff's department. He came to school all the time. So Jim, sorry about that. So let the record reflect. Karen is not married to Ed. She is married to Jim.
she was wondering, you know.
I know. I don't think we need a vote. We don't need a vote on that. Do we, Karen?
No, no,
Okay,
no.
good. All right. Okay, anyhow.
The statute of limitations.
It's expired on that. Okay, resolution 291, setting a public hearing to adopt a local law to amend the town code, chapter 220.62.2, large scale solar energy systems, and seeker intent to declare lead agency.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? And that one we have January 30th, so that one should still be fine. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carries. Resolution 292, authorization for the town manager to execute fire protection services agreements with the Cheshire Volunteer Fire Department and the City of Canandaigua Fire Department for fire protection and emergency services.
So move.
Second that.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carries. All right, this takes us to resolution 293. So, yeah, so we will. So Karen, do we have to vote on 293?
You gotta get it on the floor, then you gotta amend it.
Do you have to read
So,
it
but
out?
we haven't amended 293A. So I'll
Alright.
just present it.
If anybody can move to then a 3A.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we'll leave 293. So, can I get a motion for 293A?
Sure, I will move it to
293A.
293A as amended.
Okay. Yep. I'll second that.
Okay, and that is accepting the MRB proposal for professional services related to the use of ARPA funds for improvements at Ananda Park and Seneca Point Road. And there was we had to adjust where some of the money was coming from in that, and you can see there's a red line version of 293A, as you can see up there, where the money was stricken from.
Which
The
changes the
original one.
total to 133,675.
Correct. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. 293A carries. Okay, resolution 294, appointment of zoning officer.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carries.
Much news.
Yes. Resolution 295, appointment of parks maintenance assistant.
That's,
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion on that one? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carries. Resolution 296, authorizing the purchase of a digital sign.
I'll move that.
Resolutions on the table?
I will second it, but I'd like to know more about it.
Okay, so moved and seconded with discussion, I assume.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll open the floor for discussion. Lindsay, I know you had prepared a presentation, but could you just share some of your thoughts? I know Mark shared some thoughts. Could you do the same?
Yeah, absolutely. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Yes, so we want to install a digital sign at Outhouse Park, which is one of our busiest parks, especially with the addition to Motion Junction. The sign itself will serve many different purposes, mainly for communication in one of our high traffic areas. So it goes beyond just advertising any just park specific events. I have the capability of pushing any messages that the town would like to from my phone to this digital kiosk to communicate with our residents or people in the area. I will share with you guys that the price for the kiosk does not include the electrical service to the signs. That is something that we would have to take care of separately to that. But I do believe and I do feel, along with the Parks and Rec Committee, that the sign would be a good use and a good addition to not just the park system, but to the town of Canandaigua.
Lindsay, where on Outhouse Road is this planned to be?
Or the drawing package that showed it between the.
Okay, sorry, I got muted. It's going to be right in front of building 200, right in front of that restroom building, right near the playground itself. That makes the most sense for the placement. So there's no light pollution to the neighbors and also cost effective as far as running electric to that location. So right in between parking lot 1 and 2, I do believe there is an attachment. Okay, I don't know if you guys see that or not.
He's showing it to me now.
This sign is not for hire for any advertisements or anything?
No, it would only be for the use, for town use at this point. And we also do have the capabilities as well to shut off the sign at certain times. So that way after, say, I don't know, 10 p.m., we don't want the sign lit at all. It stays unlit, and I can have it turned back on, whatever time we would want to. We also have the capability of having it like a brightness, the level of brightness as well. So we have full control over all of that.
Would it automatically dim at dusk? Would it adjust those levels?
It can, absolutely.
Because I know one concern that I have is there's a similar sign in a similar area that is pretty bright coming up over the hill. So I'd want to make sure that it could be muted.
Yes, the vendor that I am working with said that we have that capability to have it as bright or as not bright as we want. And we can have it on a schedule to, be at a certain light level and or shut off completely at certain times.
What's the life expectancy of something like this?
That's a great question, Terry. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure, but working with this particular vendor, they have a special LED component as far as like protecting the LED lights. It's some patented design where it actually lasts a lot longer. They also do the signs at for other municipalities as well, and I've reached out to them and they've been very happy with this particular sign that we are planning on purchasing.
Is it, the surface, is it protected in any way from somebody throwing something at it, or Lindsay, or?
I do know that there is some type of rubberized material around the LED lights themselves that protect it from weather, but if someone took a baseball bat to it, I mean, it will do some damage to it.
Any other questions?
It's intended for driving, to be geared towards the driving population or the walking population, or?
For the size of sign that we're purchasing, it is geared towards both. So the goal is obviously if someone is walking around the trails or riding their bike around the trails, that they would be able to see the sign, but as well as driving, to have it, you know, when someone is driving past it or driving into the parking lot, that they can see and obviously use that sign too.
And we've talked about potentially installing sidewalks along Outhouse Road at some point. I'd just like to make sure it doesn't end up impeding that possibility going forward.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Looks like it's about $8,000 to put those bricks around the bottom of it there. I mean, it's the same. With the surround that they $8,000 worth. 5-year warranty, so it probably lasts 6 years.
And Mark, you had said that the Parks and Rec Committee was unanimous.
Yep.
With the
Very
committee.
supportive of having this informational. We have our movie nights, we have our concert nights, and, you know, we're trying to get Jim to bring the big sign down, things like that for that information. Back in the 2018 Parks and Rec plan, it did talk about informational kiosks and things at the parks. You know, so we were kind of looking at it from that angle. When you look at, and I would agree, Terry, with what you said, is maybe there's an option for local work to be done for some of those other pieces. But our discussion in the Parks and Rec Committee was, let's have an attractive sign that fits in, that looks nice. We just thought, you know, you look at the two metal poles pounded in with something just jammed in between. As you drive around, I mean, a lot of communities, you see these signs, and some look a lot nicer than others, and, you know, they fit a lot better. So, but that was kind of the one that we looked at. I know there had been money set aside earlier for, you know, signage at Outhouse Park and kiosks and informational kiosks and things.
How much was set aside? So you know.
35,000 in the budget, I believe. 35.
And Lindsay, do we know about how much the electrical service, did they have any idea, or did you even get into that with them? About if they have any experience with that electrical service to run it?
Sorry, it would be a couple of $1,000s. I didn't get it into it with that company. We would more than likely use a company locally to do that work separately from them.
We actually just upgraded the electrical service there near the bathroom, so that's all there in that same general area, so we probably be running. So it's not.
It's not, it's 50 feet in conduit, so it's really not that much. Or just an extension cord for $30.
Over the.
Yeah, I think code
Sidewalks.
enforcement, yeah, I think we have issues with code enforcement.
Well,
Okay.
I do think also we've had a lot of discussion about increased communication needs for the town during our budget time too. So I
Yeah.
can see this being an excellent way to help communicate without sending something through the mail to every resident. So
Do we know how many cars we get
or not.
on Outhouse in a day?
We had a traffic.
Yeah.
Depends on whether the dump's open or not.
They talked about that with the Parks Committee talked about that once, like 3 years ago.
Also, I remember seeing a crazy number like 5,000, 6,000.
It's quite large number. I'd have to pull that study, I'd say between 4 and 6.
Okay, so it's a significant, it's not an insignificant number.
That's pretty central too. It's
Yeah.
kind of in the middle of the town.
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea, especially to be able to communicate other events, other town things that are coming up, meetings, votes, all of that. I think that's definitely a benefit. Okay, any further discussion? All right, we have the resolution on the table, so all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, resolution carries. All right, got ahead of myself. Resolution 297. Accepting conservation easement related to the Metros development, directing the town manager to sign said easements.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Carries. Resolution 298, acknowledgement of stormwater control facilities, maintenance agreement for DHL Candlewood 2 LLC, the Candlewood Apartments.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carries. We do have a few additional items that were brought in from further discussion from this last week. They weren't discussed in time to make it in the regular agenda packet. Resolution 299, supporting the Seneca Point Road Culvert Project, municipal supporting resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and this is for an application to help with funding for these culverts because they are not cheap for DOT funding to help with that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Carries. Resolution 300, accepting the MRB group proposal for professional services related to the Purdy Road extension and authorizing the town manager to execute documents.
So moved.
Second it.
Okay, moved and seconded, and this is where the money from the previous resolution was taken out and added to this one. Because initially the mistake was put in to be pulled out of ARPA funding. And this one creates its own line for that.
And the revenue source would be highway unassigned fund balance for now, and then we would figure out.
See where we go, and then, okay. Here we go from there. So did we get a vote? We voted on that. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carries. Turn the page. This page keeps having more and more wonders. That's just that.
Stick with
Do you have the votes you need there, the motion you said?
For 300. Thank you.
Ooh, are we ending at exactly 300? Oh, man.
Okay,
Don't worry, you'll be at one in just a few.
yeah, and before you know it.
Like a nice even number.
Resolution 301, setting a public hearing to advance the application to apply for Restore New York funding.
So moved.
So moved. Or second.
Okay,
Take your pick,
Gene, take your
Gene.
pick between the two of them. Moved and seconded, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, resolution
Is
carries.
that on the nice?
Yes.
Yes.
Just so that where the applications are linked with myself.
Yeah, we've got to. We'll make that. All right, can I get a motion to approve the meetings from November 21st and November 28th?
I'll move those.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, Gene, can you go through the bills, please?
Certainly. Utility abstract dated November 23rd, 2022, totaling $6,098.88. The general fund of $4,654.96. Highway fund of $110.07. Water districts of $1,333.85. Town board abstract dated December 19th, 2022, totaling $266,802.27. The general fund of $139,927.61. Highway fund of $78,044.45. Capital projects of $18,202.50. Lighting districts of $1,487.22. And the water districts of $29,140.49.
Okay, thank you. Can I get a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Bills are paid. Takes us to the last privilege of the floor. Is there anyone who would like to be heard at this time? Okay, seeing no hands, we do have a couple executive sessions requested. Executive session requested for the purpose of proposed acquisition, sale, lease of real property when the publicity might affect value, including the town board members-elect John Casey and Dave Sauter, town attorney, town manager, and Kevin Oldani, who is here with us tonight. And then the second one is the purpose of discussing the employment history of a particular individual, including our two newly elected town board members, as well as the town attorney and the town manager. Can I get a motion to enter into executive session?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, moved and seconded,
Yeah.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, oh, we'll enter into executive session.
Locked and loaded with that.
Merry Christmas.
This thing's no good. All right, so it is 8:30. We're back in the regular session.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas, happy Hanukkah.
Christmas.